Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Wilt. I'd like to call to order the Policy Committee of the whole meeting for today, October 7th, 2021. Prior to tonight's meeting, an executive session was held to discuss confidential and legal matters. I also want to let you know that this board welcomes and invites public comment. You may address the board on agenda and/or non-agenda items. The first opportunity for comments is at the beginning of this meeting and is limited to agenda items only. If you choose to address the board, please fill out a comment card that's at the back and hand it to Mr. Sickett. Is he in the room? He's there. And at this time, and please limit your remarks to about 3 minutes. At this time, Interim Superintendent Ramos, do you have any questions or any remarks?
I do not.
Thank you. Are there any, anyone, there's no one who wants to address the board with agenda items? None at this time. Okay, I'll move forward. So what we'll do now is we will have, we'll go over policy. We have 3 policies tonight. They're all being presented for their first reading. That's policy 209, 229, and 231. Dr. Brown, would you?
Thank you, Mrs. Conover. This evening, we continue our approach to revising our all of our policy series with an emphasis on the 200 series, which governs our interactions with our students. Ms. Polick will be presenting policies related to student health, school level dollars, and social events and class trips. Ms. Polick.
Good evening. The first policy is policy 209, health examination screenings. In compliance with school code, this policy requires district students to submit to health and dental examinations to protect the school community from the spread of communicable disease. It helps to ensure that the student's participation in health, safety, and physical education meets his or her individual needs. Additional language was added under the authority section. Under the guidelines section, school physician or dentist has been updated to include only physician or dentist. Tuberculosis testing will be removed due to those not being given in our schools. In addition, language was updated on the maintenance of health records and provisions for transfer students in compliance with the current school code provisions. Do you have any questions? The next policy is policy 229, student fundraising. The purpose of this policy is to acknowledge that solicitation of funds from students must be limited and may disrupt the educational program of schools. Recommended language was added throughout the policy to provide further clarity. The definition of student fundraising was revised to be more concise. Under the authority section, language was added that states students are not obligated to conduct door-to-door sales for fundraising, and that all student fundraising shall be conducted in compliance with federal, state, and local laws. Any funds solicited would be controlled by policy 618, which is our student activities fund, our student activity funds policy. Do you have any questions? The last policy is 231, social events and class trips. The title of this policy was revised to only include social events and class trips. The purpose of the policy is to recognize the value of social events and class trips and enhancing and enriching the school experience for students. Most of the district's policy language was replaced with PSBA's policy guide language, as it is more concise, current, and less procedural. Do you have any questions?
Hearing and seeing no questions, may I have a motion to move these 3 policies, policies 209, 229, and 231 to our regular board meeting, which will be held on Thursday, October 21st, 2021.
So moved.
Charlie Thiel and Nancy Wilt. Any discussion? Hearing no and seeing no one to discuss, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposes? Motion carries. At this time, is there anyone who would like to approach the board on non-agenda items?
Yeah, one card. Diane Hollowell.
Diane Howard, please come forward.
I can take this off. It's been years. Oh, Diane Hollowell, Highland Drive, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. It's been years since I've spoken at a board meeting, and I see lots of new faces since the last time. Just a little about myself. I am a teacher in the district. I am the proud librarian at Deer High School. I do not own a vacation house to travel to in the summer, but I still do have a mortgage on my house because we put both our kids through college. I am very, very happy to hear that the board would find the money for a new superintendent's salary because Allentown only hires the best. And I want to congratulate him. My only problem with him is that he is from Ohio State and this is Penn State country. Both my kids went there. I was hoping he was been here. I have a Penn State button for him. So for the past, my daughter married an Ohio State fan. It's awful. For the past 22 years, I have worked with the best. My fellow coworkers wear multiple hats and we do this for our students. Just in the past few weeks, besides running the library, I have subbed for classes, done bathroom duty, administered Keystone tests, directed traffic, and I even helped serve lunches. Luckily, I have not been involved in a fight or I might be out with a broken rib like one of our teachers is. We do these things because we care. We work as a unit to make sure we do what is right for our students. But right now, I will tell you, the morale among our teachers is fading fast. There's no contract in over 2 years, even though we are the best. And we wonder why young teachers leave our district after a few years. And I do question if the board really appreciates what we do every day. Other districts love hiring Allentown teachers. They get to go to districts where the rooms are cleaned every night. They aren't dealing with large class sizes, breaking up fights, or having to listen to the F word 100 times a day. I and a whole lot of my coworkers have had the opportunity to go to other districts, but we stay because we make a difference in our students' lives. We make them feel safe, we care, and we build relationships. And I do have to say, I'm a little concerned that members of the board feel that we don't have a standardized curriculum in the district. When I was a health and phys ed teacher 15 years ago, we had a standardized curriculum. I spoke with many departments heads and they were a little confused on why I was even asking them such a ridiculous question. I spoke with elementary teachers and was told they have a rigorous pacing guide to follow. So it really does concern me that some members might have a false perception of what is occurring in our buildings and how hard our teachers work to make sure that all our students are successful. And I am just hoping you care about us, the best, as much as we care about our students and find the money to give us a fair contract. Thank you. Will anybody see him, wants to give him this, or should I mail it?
Give it to him.
Thank you very much. Is there any old business to come before the board at this time? Any new business? May I have a motion to adjourn policy?
I make the motion.
Ms. Phoebe Harris, is
I'll
there a
second.
second?
I'll second.
Second by Ms. Nancy Wilkes. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
I'd like to call to order the Education Committee of the Whole meeting of the Board of Directors of the School District for the City of Allentown for today, October 7th, 2021. The board welcomes and invites public comment. If you'd like to address the board, there's comment cards over on the stand and give them to Mr. Sickett. Ms. Ramos, do you have any comments?
I do not.
Are there any comment cards? Okay, then we'll go right on to the agenda. We have 7 items tonight. Dr. Brown?
Thank you, Mrs. Race. Our first item comes from our Grants and Development Department. We are presenting an item that will allow us to avoid any interruption in our after-school programming funded by the 21st Century Program.
Correct. Thank you. I'm hereby requesting that the board approve the addendum of the agreement between the Allentown School District and ESS. ESS is our substitute company for our regular school day. This will allow us to ask those ESS subs to stay later and be paid through the 21st Century Grant for their sub services. Any questions?
Seeing none, do I have a motion to move this forward? Mr. Thiel, is there a second? Mrs. Matheson, all those in favor? Or I'm sorry, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that will move forward.
Thank
Thank you. Next up is maps.
Thank you. Our next item comes from our ESOL department. And again, I always begin with thanking Mrs. Lisa Greitzer for her support that she's given to our entire academic team and making sure that our ESOL population is absolutely cared for and advocated for. This item speaks to being able to provide arts and music programming to our ESOL students, not only in person during this school year, the 21-22 school year, but also virtually as we enroll our students, our ESOL students, English learner students in our virtual campus as well. This program supports our strategic framework. It addresses equal access and equal opportunity, as well as equitable access and equitable opportunity for this targeted subgroup. It also addresses a number of the items in the OCR complaints that are on our table. And it also helps promote the language proficiency development of our English learners, which are specific goals identified in each of our school improvement plans from elementary, middle, and high school. I'll pause there for any questions.
Seeing none, do I have a motion to move this forward? Ms. Conover, is there a second? Ms. Harris, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that will move forward. Next up is the virtual job shadow.
Good evening. We're requesting the board's approval to purchase 1,770 seat licenses for our special education population through Virtual Job Shadow. Virtual Job Shadow is an internet-based career exploration and career planning. Students will be allowed at this point for job searches. And basically, it's a video platform career. The total cost of this is $27,395. Any questions?
Seeing none, is there a motion to move this forward? Mr. Thiel, is there a second? Ms. Conover, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that moves forward. Thank you. Next up is Edgenuity.
Good evening. Today, we're requesting the board's approval to renew the services of Annuity for 2 years at a projected cost of $142,500, which is $71,250 per year. The 2-year renewal does save the district money. Our flexible online courses and curriculum align to state standards. This courseware offers a full suite of core curriculum, AP language, elective test prep, concept, and credit recovery courses for students. It supports the ASD strategic framework theory of action by centering the district's work on personalized learning and instruction. It will affect students by being the main curricular resource for our high school virtual campus. It satisfies in-person and virtual high school credit recovery and credit advantage courses, high school language course offerings, high school elective coursework, middle school and elementary credit advantage courses. It does include translation options to help students access content in English. And it also serves our alt ed credit recovery and dropout prevention programs. I'm also joined tonight by Elena Anguita, our account executive from Edgenuity.
Are there any questions? Ms. Con- Go ahead, Ms. Conover.
Comment. I guess it would be a comment. So I happen to be on the education committee, so we had conversation about Edgenuity. And I don't know if you would be able to, Will, or maybe the representative from Edgenuity would be able to elaborate, because I know our community had concerns with Edgenuity. And while we vetted those concerns in our education committee meeting, I need the community to understand the changes that have been made, or maybe just speak a little bit, because I don't want the community to feel like, you know, hey, we've been saying that we had problems
Mhm.
for the last year, And now they're going and they're gonna renew it again. So I would like you to be able to address the community a little bit more. in
Certainly, I
depth.
appreciate that. So we've been utilizing Edgenuity since the 2016-27 school year. We have been utilizing it in what was previously called our virtual academy as a fully functional cyber option for our students that functions to give our students additional pathways, personalized learning, and also serves as an opportunity to not only prevent students from going to charter, but to come back from charter in our virtual option. That program has been successful and has been churning out graduates every year. We did have 44, I should read the numbers from 2017. We had 20 full-time virtual academy graduates, 2018, 44. And then the past 2 years, 2019 and 2020, 60 graduates each coming out of that virtual academy program. We did contract with Edgenuity last year for all of our coursework for K-12 as we entered into a challenging school year in the midst of a pandemic. So taking that resource and applying it across K-12 was certainly a challenge. That's not what we're doing with this renewal. This renewal is to satisfy the programs that we had previously been supporting with since 2016-17 school year. We did renew with Edgenuity for 2 years, 2 years ago this month, because of the success and the alternate pathways that we were providing our students to be able to acquire their high school diplomas.
Thank you. And then there was one concern that I had. And we talked about it, right? So we're just gonna touch on it again. When we were going through, there was a point in time where I didn't feel, and maybe other board members, but I didn't feel, I'm talking about myself, that we were getting the supports that we needed from Edgenuity. There was a period of time where we felt that after we paid all that money, that it was like, all right, you're stuck with it. And so I'm saying that to say that at this point, you're giving us good news, right? But I just want to ensure that we continue that relationship that we have now with Edgenuity, because our goal is to ensure that we close those achievement gaps with our kids. We graduate them and they're college ready or career ready, right? So I'm glad you're here, because I was on him. But I just want you guys to hear, and I wanted to be able to share that with the community. So it's not like, okay, here it is, time to renew again, and we were just saying yes because it's the easiest thing to do. It's not the easiest thing to do. We definitely vetted it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
I
Ms. Conover.
agree that it's good, but I agree that I haven't looked at it as not good enough. I don't. I'm sorry. Too many parents, too many children complained. It was too hard. It was awful. And I cannot go, I think you should be doing more for us. We pay you way too much money, and we should be getting more than we're getting.
Are there any other questions from board members? Seeing none, is there a motion to move this forward?
So moved.
Actually, I had a question. My hand
Oh,
was up.
sorry, Linda. I didn't see your hand up. Go ahead.
Sorry, guys. So I had some parents asking me in the community if the literacy and mathematical levels were the same on Ingenuity for the web base as opposed to the brick and mortar students. Graduation, because you were just talking about the graduation numbers.
I'm not sure I fully understand the question, Ms. Vega.
So the children that were graduating, right, from the
Yes.
online version, what is their reading level? What was the literacy level they were graduating on? This is what parents are asking me.
I see. I don't have that data as far as the correlation between the students' reading level that graduated. That would be something I could look into, but the utilization of this program allows the students to earn the required credits towards their high school diploma.
Okay, can you send us the information then via email?
Yeah, I can see if that's a possibility.
Thank you, Ms. Vega. Is there a motion to move this forward?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Miller, is there a second?
Mr. Conover.
Ms. Conover, all those, or any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
And that will move forward at the end of the month. Thank you. Next is the Proquest LLC renewal.
Good evening. Requesting the board's approval to renew the research library database tool Proquest. Proquest is a library research database that's used by Allentown School District's secondary schools. The platform serves as a vital digital resource. It connects a vast compilation of journals, books, newspapers, and video audio resources. Additional features can also be accessed via the district's connection to the Allentown Public Library. The cost is $26,300 out of the information technology budget.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to move this forward?
Make the motion.
Ms. Matheson, seconded Ms. Conover. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that will move forward. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next is integrated student supports.
Thank you. We have an extension for our integrated student supports that are delivered at our middle and high school level. We have the Community and Schools Executive Director in the audience here to answer any questions. Typically, these programs help our students with attendance, family engagement, and any sort of wraparound services to support that whole child initiative in the learning environment. The memo is presented for you. The cost of the services is, I can't see it there, but let me go here. I think it is the same. My apologies. I think it's 366,000, which is comparable and equal to the cost of the last contract that we presented to support our students in these buildings. We've also made sure that the goals for the initiative are written into all of the school improvement plans, again, so that we provide that robust accountability structure. And if you have any questions, we'll ask Mr. Mulligan to come forward to field those questions for you, unless our executive director secondary would also like to add anything.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from the board?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ms. Harris.
I was very happy to be a part of the graduation for community and schools last June. It was great. Our students did so well, and they were not the ones who were expected to graduate. My only concern is that we didn't have enough DEAR students. What are we doing? What are you doing to make sure that they know that opportunity is there?
Sure. Last year, thanks for the question, Ms. Harris. Last year, the graduation events that we had, because they're again in the midst of the pandemic, ordinarily we aim to have one big celebration. What we did last year was we invited each of our site coordinators to consider what they wanted to do, if they wanted to have a big celebration or an Allentown celebration or an individual celebration by their schools. And the DEAR group decided not to join with the Allentown, the Allen group for their particular celebration.
So there was Allen graduates, I mean, DEAR graduates.
They did something, they had a unique kind of opportunity that was a little bit different than what Dolly did over at William Allen.
Okay, I'd like to be invited to those.
Okay.
I'm going for, let each city do their own thing, because that made it special for our children here in Allentown School District.
It does. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. Any other questions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, is there a motion to move this forward?
I make the motion.
Oh, sorry. Go
Ms.
ahead.
Harris, seconded Ms. Wilt. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? And that will move forward. And last on the agenda is the curriculum and professional development consulting services.
Yeah, tonight we're coming forward with a request for the board to approve an agreement with School Operations Solutions. This agreement would provide the consulting services of Mrs. Kathleen Gill, also known as Katie Gill, who can't seem to stay away from us. She would be servicing and supporting the district in the hiring and transitioning of new staff who support that department, as well as being a hands-on support for us as we embark on our new curriculum development. We need some EL support in our transition. So we're looking at having her assist us in the K-12 social studies, 9-12 ELA, and K-8 math once that initiates with that EL lens in mind. And sort of simultaneously helping us transition new staff in as we hire certain positions.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on the contract? Seeing and hearing none, is there a motion to move this forward? Mr. Thiel, is there a second? Ms. Matheson, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That will move forward. Are there any comments from the public on non-agenda items? Okay. Any old business to come before the Education Committee? Any new business or grass catcher items? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Ms. Wilt, seconded Mr. Thiel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
I'd like to call to order the building committee of the whole for today, October 7th. Acting superintendent, any comments?
I don't have any comments.
Board secretary, any comments from the public?
No.
I'll turn it over to the administration for the first board item for the CoStarz contract on the playground equipment.
Mr. Smith's bringing forward this evening, well, we're bringing forward this evening, excitedly bringing forward this evening, 2 playgrounds, one for Jefferson Elementary and one for Muhlenberg Elementary. And I'll just let Tom Smith take it from there.
Thank you, Jen. Good evening, everybody. Tonight, I'm requesting board approval of a PA CoStar state contract with Recreation Resources USA of 503 North Walnut Road, Building 200, Kennett Square, PA 19348, for playground equipment and installation for Jefferson Elementary School for $89,095. This will be funded by the remaining new elementary school bond funds. This action request and agreement provisions have been reviewed by the district solicitor and was discussed at the building co-chair meeting on September 9th, 2021. And I recommend this item be considered as an action item at the regular board meeting on October 21st, 2021.
Any questions from my fellow board members? Tom, you can go ahead with the Muhlenberg Elementary playground. We'll vote all of that at once.
At once. Thank you, sir. Tonight, I'm requesting board approval of another PA CoStar state contract with Recreation Resources USA, 503 North Walnut Road, Building 200, Kennett Square, PA 19348, for playground equipment and installation for Muhlenberg Elementary School for $134,019. This will be funded again by remaining new elementary school bond funds. Action requests and agreement provisions have been reviewed by the district solicitor and was discussed at building co-chair meeting on September 9th, 2021. And I recommend this item be considered as an action item at the regular board meeting on October 21st, 2021.
Any questions, Ms. Brace?
I just have a comment, and I waited till Muhlenberg so that nobody could say Jefferson was getting special. I just want to thank administration for putting playgrounds and physical activity at the forefront for our children. Finally, our kids are starting to get the playgrounds that they need to play on at recess so that they can actually go outside and play and run off their energy to hopefully help them learn more in school. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, Mr. Thiel?
Just a question in regard, and I do thank you for your sentiments because I wanted to thank the administration as well, but a question about access to playgrounds in schools not in session for neighborhood, the community. Are both of those accessible to the community?
They certainly are.
So I think that's just an important, again, highlight that, we provide not just for students who are in our school during school day, but it's a great community asset, neighborhood asset. So thank you, administration.
Thank you, Mr. Thiel. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Thiel, a second. Mrs. Brace, any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, these two move forward to the monthly meeting. Mr. Smith, we've got the approval of the Second Harvest Food Bank.
Tonight, I'm requesting board approval of the licensing agreement with Second Harvest Food Bank and Promise Neighborhoods of the Lehigh Valley to provide full-service food pantry service to families and community within the space provided at the Brigadier General Anna Mae Hayes Elementary School, located at 1227 West Gordon Street, Allentown, PA 18102. This action request approval is subject to acceptable review by the district solicitor and was discussed at building committee meeting on August 9th, 2021. I recommend this item be considered as an action item at the regular board meeting, October 21st, 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I'm really excited to have these schools, that area filled to be a community school. So looking forward to that. Any questions, Mrs. Brace?
Does this impact what's going on at Central with their food bank? Is Central's food bank moving over there, or will Central still have their food bank?
This is an additional site.
Okay.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion. Mr. Thiel,
I second.
seconded by Ms. Harris. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this item moves forward. Mr. Smith, we now have the approval of the Mcclure contract.
We do, and I'm going to move forward with the board's consideration of this for the board approval. With me tonight, I have representatives from Mcclure Company. After I go through my board memo for approval, I will, Alyssa Wigginfield from Mcclure Company will be giving you a presentation with more detail. So tonight I'm requesting board approval of the Phase 1 Guaranteed Energy Savings Agreement with Mcclure Company, 4101 North 6th Street, Harrisburg, PA, 17110, to address mechanical upgrades and energy improvements necessary to ensure a safe, efficient, and healthy school environment for over 20,000 students and staff. The project is in compliance and meets all State Act 163, 2016, and federal ESSER procurement guidelines. Phase 1 is scheduled for summer 2022 implementation and includes district-wide lighting upgrades, district-wide HVAC preventive maintenance, Jackson Elementary School, Moser Elementary School, and Washington Elementary School HVAC upgrades, district-wide plumbing upgrades, district-wide transformer upgrades, district-wide building envelope and insulation upgrades. The renovation projects will respond to the COVID-19 pandemic and will address the many dimensions of resource equity and longstanding gaps in educational opportunities. In addition, Allentown School District strives to improve the learning environment by reducing the risk of the virus transmission and focusing on the health and well-being of our students and staff. The Phase 1 cost is $17,108,147 and will be funded by remaining new elementary school bond funds and ESSER's 2 and ESSER's 3 funds. This action request approval is subject to acceptable review by the district solicitor and was discussed at the building committee meeting on August 9th, 2021. And I recommend this item be considered as an action item at the regular board meeting on October 21st, 2021. So Alyssa, if you'd like, you can begin your presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Thank you to the administration and to the board for having us this evening. My name is Alyssa Wigginfield. I'm an engineer with Mcclure Company. I've been with them for over 14 years. With me tonight is Mike Rachowski. He's a project development engineer. Our presentation's informal, so if you have questions, you feel free to ask them as you're thinking them, or you can wait till the end.
Jose, could you flip to the next slide, please?
Perfect. So quick background about Mcclure Company. We're a 68-year-old construction management firm. We specialize in K through 12 energy projects. These energy projects have a return on investment, meaning that these projects have guaranteed costs, meaning no change orders, and the savings are also guaranteed. If there's a shortfall, Mcclure is responsible for the difference. If you turn to the next slide, we've started working with the district about 5 years ago. We've been doing maintenance and small service projects for you. Back in May, we were officially approved as your energy service contracting partner. Since then, we've worked with the administration team to put a 10-year capital plan together, as well as allocating ESSER funds to do facility projects. Our engineering teams have been on site surveying, and we have reviewed our designs with your administration. We are looking at two major project categories for next summer to be included in phase one. First are energy saving opportunities, and second are modernizing HVAC systems. If you turn to the next slide, our team also completed a utility bill analysis. The first metric we look at among your buildings is energy use intensity, the column in orange. The number we're looking for is about 55,000 or lower. That just shows how efficient your buildings are. So there's opportunities to prove efficiency. The second metric we look at is energy cost index. This is how many dollars you spend on utility divided by square foot. Lower the number, the better. We expect for a natural gas building to be anywhere from 90 cents to $1. So again, there's an opportunity here to improve the cost index as well. If you turn to the next slide, we'll go through each of the measures individually. The first category are energy saving opportunities, any project that has a quick return on investment. The first project 1A is LED lighting upgrades. This is changing out your existing fluorescent or high intensity discharge lighting to LED. This project will also include your stadium field lighting. The second project we're looking at is 1B is district-wide preventive maintenance program. This is addressing all of your buildings and doing HVAC maintenance to improve the longevity of your HVAC equipment. The third category is plumbing upgrades. This is looking at sinks, showers, toilets throughout the district and changing those fixtures from high flow fixtures to low flow fixtures to save on your water and utility bills. If you turn to the next slide, project 1D is transformer upgrades. This is replacing interior inefficient transformers with high efficiency transformers. Project 1E is building envelope and insulation upgrades. This is improving the exoskeleton of your facilities by sealing around any openings. This includes penetrations between roof and wall interfaces, windows, and doors. In addition, we'll insulate any pipes, HVAC pipes that are not insulated, as well as replacing insulation on chilled water pipes at Sheridan Elementary and Drexler Middle School. So that is the first set of projects. The second set of projects we're going to talk about is modernizing your HVAC systems at 3 buildings. Over the next 3 years, we recommend air conditioning 10 of your buildings, but the first summer we'll focus on 3. The first building is Jackson. That HVAC equipment is from 1992. To give you kind of a rule of thumb, HVAC equipment can last 20 to 25 years in a school. So it's beyond its useful life. It's heating only. So we're recommending replacing that equipment with tall vertical heat pumps and rooftop units. In addition, we're going to address some indoor air quality through Merv 13 filtration. We're going to control humidity by using active dehumidification control. In addition, we're also going to install bipolar ionization, which allows your filters to act more efficiently and take particles out of the air. So this will all be strategies used to mitigate COVID-19, in addition to modernizing your HVAC systems and adding air conditioning.
Can you hold on for just a second? Okay, so the polarizing, explain that to all of us.
Sure, great question, Ms. Harris. So bipolar ionization, what that is, it's an accessory that's added into your HVAC equipment. It produces ions. Those ions go into the space and they attract particles in the space. Particles can be viruses, bacteria, mold, dirt. And what it does is it agglomerates the particles so they get bigger, kind of like a snowball effect. And when it goes through your filtration media, the filters can more efficiently pull that out of the airstream. Yep, great question. Any other questions on that? Okay, we can go to the next slide. Slide 8 is Moser Elementary. That HVAC equipment is from 1969. So again, we're going to replace with tall vertical heat pumps and rooftop units. We're going to add the indoor environmental quality items such as Merv 13 filtration and bipolar ionization. Everything will have active dehumidification control meeting on the walls. In addition to a thermostat, you'll also have the humidity stat that will control the humidity of the classrooms and spaces. We'll also replace 12 antiquated electric panel boards as a part of this project.
Question. What is Merv 13 filtration?
That's a great question. So MERV 13 filtration is the effectiveness of your filter. So the typical filter used in a classroom is MERV 8. So this is just increasing up to MERV 13. And that's what's being recommended by ASHRAE and CDC for classrooms.
So it's catching more germs, that's what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Good question. So if you want to turn to slide 9, 2C is the last building we're going to talk about this evening. That's Washington Elementary School. That equipment is from 1982. Again, new HVAC units throughout, unit ventilators, rooftop units. And we're also going to upgrade the main electrical switchboard to provide additional capacity on the electrical side since we're adding air conditioning. Any questions on that? Wonderful. If you'd like to turn to slide 10, in addition to the 3 phases of energy and HVAC projects, we're going to also look at a phase 4 opportunity, which is solar. So we're looking at potential to add solar PV panels, whether they be on a roof or near a stadium. The site is still unknown, but the benefit to the district would be to find an additional revenue stream so that you can continue to do more and more facility and other projects around the district. So I'll come back and talk about that more in a future phase, but wanted to let you know what was coming. On slide 11 are the project financials. So it takes all the measures we just talked about, 1 and 2, and then we added the future projects and their budgets, so you can kind of see what's coming down the line. As you work from the columns left to right, you'll see the funding source. And then we worked with your administration to figure out how these projects will be funded. You'll show our initial budget costs next to the final project costs. Those final project costs, remember, are no change order. They are also completely turnkey. So they include the engineering and the construction, hard costs, soft costs, and all the post-construction costs.
I have a question.
Sure.
So on line 1, when you talked about district-wide lead lighting upgrade.
Yep.
So in order for us to do that, we're gonna have to take out a bond.
No. So that's using bond proceeds that we've already issued that was left over. And I believe that's from the elementary school. Is that right, Mr. Smith? Yes.
Okay, and then the project cost is 4,642,000, right?
Correct.
And then that's a 20-year savings, so that's about $354,000 that would be saving over 20 years.
The 7 million.
Yeah, that's 7 million.
Correct. You would see that over 20 years on your energy bills through operational savings and also Act 129 rebates through the utility.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, great question. So that project cost is listed there. Next to that is the 20-year savings for each measure. And then phase 1, this is the projects we're recommending for next summer. You'll see them subtotaled at the bottom for $17,108,147. All those projects will guarantee the district roughly $10 million.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So when I go down and I'm looking at Dodd and Newcomer and the 20-year savings, we don't have an idea of how much we would be saving.
Not to date. We're looking at each phase at a time because we can only guarantee the energy savings and the project costs a year out, just because the project costs, the construction volatility of the market. So what we're going to do is probably 6 to 12 months from now, come back with those project costs and savings.
So tonight, this presentation is for discussion, or is there act attached to it?
So it's for phase 1. So every year, Mr. Smith, correct me if I'm wrong, every year about this time, they'll come back for the next phase. So phase 1 this year, phase 2 next year.
To ask for the phase 1.
Phase 1, correct.
That is correct.
We move towards the next, to our regular board meeting.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep, great question. So phase 1 is subtotaled at the bottom. That will save roughly $10 million over the next 20 years. Remember, if there's a shortfall in the savings, Mcclure is responsible for the difference. The last column is just to show you the phase 2 and phase 3, where they're budgeted at is 38.7 million. So we're roughly $200,000 less than that as the current projections. And we'll continue to update those as we tighten those numbers. And we will be back in a year to present phase 2 and in 2 years to present phase 3. Any other questions on the project financials? All right, if you want to turn to slide 12, in terms of next steps, we're recommending the board take action on this project in 2 weeks. What that will allow us to do is then finalize the contract and start some second shift lighting, which would occur after the students would leave, would also let us procure major equipment with long lead times so that the major construction that would occur between June and August. However, if we can mobilize a little early and work behind the scenes without disrupting the classroom, we'll ask to do that. And we might be here behind the scenes buttoning up some projects once the students arrive. And then over the next construction year in year one, we will analyze the energy savings and come back with you with reports on how the achieved savings compare to what was projected. So at this point, I'll open up to any additional questions you might have.
I have a question. I don't think you can answer it. I guess it would be to Mr. Smith. So, Mrs. Smith, if we move forward with this phase one, would you be in a position at some point to let us know where that would put us with our schools in terms of, because we know that there's needs, right?
Certainly.
So would you be able to say, well, this will satisfy this percentage of what we need at the school? Would you be able to provide that?
Certainly.
Thank you.
We'll also be providing you, as an administration team, we'll be giving you quarterly updates on the financials as well.
Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank Mr. Smith. I know he's been working on this for the last 5 years to get this off the ground, and past board president, Ms. Brace, was able to really kick that off. And then this year with the RFP, this will bring us up to an energy efficient district. And really excited about that. Everybody asked about what we're doing with the federal money, and this is one of the things, and bringing air conditioning to a lot of our buildings that don't have it, and making it a safer and better learning environment for our students. So
And I want to thank Mcclure, because I've gone to different buildings and you've had a tech there. So you're not just giving us something and then we're on our own. No, you bring the tech. It's there in our buildings. So I want to thank you for that too as well, because you're just not giving us lip service. You're actually in there.
all right, here, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to move this forward.
So moved.
Mrs. Wilt, seconded by Mr. Thiel. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, this moves to the monthly meeting. That's all I have for agenda items. May I entertain, are there any comments from the public on non-agenda items? No? All right, any old business? New business? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Thiel, second by Ms. Harris, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned.
I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee of the whole meeting, Board of Directors, School District for the City of Allentown, today, October 7th, 2021. We do obviously, again, welcome public comment. If anybody has a card, please give it to Mr. Sickett, and we'll make sure that you're able to speak. And do Miss Ramos, Acting Superintendent, do you have any comments that you'd like to make this evening?
I do not, Mr. Thiel.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the public on agenda items? And we do not. So let's start with item number one, Mr. Istakezian. This is an addendum. Well, let me just go over the two items here we have tonight. One is addendum to the current maximum healthcare staffing agreement. And the second is a purchase requisition for copier paper. Both these items were reviewed last week in the Finance Subcommittee meeting, and I'll let Mr. Istakezian address these items individually. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thiel. The first one is an addendum to our agreement with Maxim Healthcare. Earlier this year, we had entered an agreement with them where they can provide us with healthcare staffing and nurses. We're looking to expand that agreement so that they can provide us with special education teachers in the classrooms as we go forward with our recruiting efforts. And the cost of that is going to be $70.70 per hour.
Any questions, my colleagues? Yes, Ms. Brace.
Is there a reason that ESS isn't providing us with special ed teachers, or are these a different type of special ed teacher?
Mr. Pigeon's
You
gonna,
can't answer that.
Mr. Pigeon.
Mr. Pigeon answered our questions in the subcommittee meeting as
Okay.
well. Yes.
Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. To answer your question, ESS provides substitutes, long-term subs and day-to-day subs. These would be filling in positions almost closer to like a salaried sub position, which would be more of a semester base, as we're still doing our recruiting and working on finding individuals for the program. ESS is doing their job is to provide building-based subs and again, those day-to-day subs. So these are slightly different. And quite frankly, we haven't had a lot of success with ESS at this point. So we're reaching out to Maxim to help us provide these services to the students.
Thank you. Any other questions? I'd entertain a motion.
So
Mr.
moved.
Miller, second. Ms. Matheson, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And this goes on to the board meeting end of the month. Item number 2, purchase acquisition for copier paper. Quill. Mr. Estakezian,
Yep.
don't get all excited on us now.
Well, this is a big deal. We did go out to bid earlier in August, and this actually should have come up last month, but it's a little bit of oversight on my part. After the bids, we did identify Quill as the lowest bidder, so we're looking into entering a contract with them at a cost of $150,000 a year.
Any questions for Mr. Estakezian from my colleagues? It's paper, people. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Miller, second, Mrs. Conover. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And this goes on to the board meeting at the end of the month. Do we have any comments from the public on non-agenda items? And seeing none, any old business coming from the board? None? Any new business from the board? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Ms. Conover, have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Harris, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great evening.
Is that the shortest on record? I think that must be the shortest we've ever had.